Ik ga het kort houden, maar jullie zijn wel allemaal in een prachtige avond gekomen. Ik heb gisteren de try-out mogen meemaken. Dat vond ik zelf wel bijzonder. Jullie gaan vanavond de presentatie van het nieuwe album van Seamus Cater en Frederik Rasten meemaken. En wij hebben het geluk dat wij de Gentle Good in ons midden hebben. Een Welsh, een bijzondere folkzanger uit Wales. Ik heb Peter Bruin gevraagd om een kort interview met de artiesten te verzorgen ter introductie. En ik hoop dat jullie heel erg veel plezier gaan hebben en geniet er vooral van. And I would like to ask the artist to come to the stage, please.
Hi. Hi, Peter.
Got it. Nice to meet you.
Good evening. Because of our guest, we'll do this in English. Before I ask some questions, I think it could be a nice introduction to tell something about the folk music history of this town, because this town had the oldest folk club in Holland. It's the building you see here. It's called Waag. And the folk club in this building started in 1962 because there was a big Frans Hals painting exhibition. It was part of the Holland Festival, which is the biggest cultural thing in Holland, especially in those days. And the city wanted to have to do some things around it to keep the to keep the tourists for a couple of days in town and some entertainment. And nowadays that would be DJs or something, but in those days it was different. Next picture, please. They hired a Dutch... Volgende plaatje. Yeah, they hired at that moment the most famous Dutch folklore singer from this town. Her name was Kobe Schreier, and you see her here at the left, always dressed in kind of 17th century clothing and singing very, very old-fashioned and, my opinion, quite boring old folklore songs. And because it was entertainment, they also had you see there a puppet theater for the entertainment, and there was a bar which looked very Middle Ages kind of thing. And for the Dutch and for the people of about my age, which are a couple here, as I see, the puppet theater became a couple of years later, halfway the 60s, quite famous because they had the program of Rikkie en Slingertje on Dutch television. But that has nothing to do with folk music. The interesting thing is that, next picture please, that the year after, when the whole exhibition was over, Kobe Schreier continued with the theater, and she wanted to make it a folk place, but the English folk and the Welsh folk and the Scottish folk, like we know and like we will hear later this evening, we didn't have that much in Holland, or not at all. Only she and a couple of other men and women like her were singing those very old, century-old songs, which were quite boring. But they made it also something different. We had it was also a place for chanson, which was in those days quite popular, and it was a place for what we call in Dutch, and I don't know the English word, kleinkunst. And the guy you see here, together with Kobe Schreier is Ronnie Potsdammer. And now I see that also the puppet players are there, but that's not the part. But Ronnie Potsdammer was typisch a kleinkunst artist. And they did that for about a year, 63. But then everything changed. And that's the next picture. You see it, this newspaper, in March 1964, Pete Seeger, traveling around the world. He was traveling with his family for a year around the world because he couldn't play. He wasn't. He was very opposed in the United States because of his left field thinking and politics. And he traveled around the world. And he has a brother, or he had a brother in Leiden at the university. And that was for him a reason to stay for a week in Holland. And during that week, he was looking for folk places in Holland. He was also interested in that, what I called quite boring 17th century folk. But he was himself making a different kind of folk. The folk we know from Woody Guthrie, from people like Bob Dylan, were all very, well, Dylan was young, Guthrie was not young, but he was interested in that American kind of folk. And he came to Haarlem, and it was announced, so there was a reporter and there was a photographer from the newspaper, which was very curious in those days because what Kobe was doing there, that there were no reviews in at all, but he was a famous guy from the United States. So he was on television, he played there, and you see him here again with Potsdammer and with Kobe Schreier. And the most important thing was he invited Kobe Schreier to come to London because Seeger knew very well the whole London folk scene. And Kobe have never been there. So she went to London and she saw there all those singers from the upcoming London folk scene. People like Alex Campbell, who would come lots and lots of time over here to Haarlem later. People like Robin Hall and Jimmy McGregor, if those names mean anything to you. They've been here quite a number of times. David Swarbrick has played in Martin McCarthy. And those people came in the, well, let's say that was 64, so 65, 66. All those people came by every month. And Kobe had also arranged radio and television for those artists. So that paid for her the cost, because the Waag would only have 60 people or something, even less. So, but they all play there. And this is interesting because this, you noticed that you knew Alex Campbell. This picture is made in front of the Waag. He was there a lot of times, and the whole interesting thing of that whole scene, of that whole folk scene around 64, 65, was that that were all, and that's also with Pete Seeger, they all sang existing songs, a lot of traditionals, and they gave their own interpretation of those songs. And that was for a lot of people in that London troubadour scene. And then you also had those, give the next picture, I don't know exactly. Yeah, that was 1 year later, Joan Baez also came to Haarlem, and she had also, her first album were all cover songs or interpretations of well-known songs. The same with early records of Pete Seeger, the same with Bob Dylan. His first album, he only wrote 2 of his own songs. But the interesting thing is that from about that point, halfway the 60s, there came more and more people also from this scene who were starting to write their own songs in the tradition of those old songs. And I think Paul Simon, I think that's the next already. Oh no, this is another thing. This is Boudewijn de Groot. He was one of the few Dutch people who played there in that period, and he wasn't really folk. But the interesting thing is his two breakthrough songs were Wel te rusten, meneer de president, Sleep Well, Mr. President. And that was completely in the Dylan tradition, inspired by Dylan. And his other big breakthrough song was Meisje van 16, and which was a cover of Jarl Aznavour. So that was very much in the tradition of the chansons that were played and sung also in the Waag. About a year later, he became more pop, so he didn't play in the Waag anymore. But that's where he started his career. Interesting thing, just to show you, is in that period, this album was made by their own label, and there are all those kind of people which I mentioned are on that album, and most of them are playing not their own, they're playing traditionals, and Alex Campbell is playing a Dylan song, and so that's about chanson. Peter Blankert, misschien kennen jullie de naam nog, die zingt hier De Deserteur van Boris Vian. Dus dat is weer in die chanson-traditie. Dus dat geeft eigenlijk de Waag aan, zo in die hele eerste periode tot 65, 66. En volgende plaatje, alsjeblieft. Ja, zij noemden zichzelf ook de International Troubadour Club. En ze waren ook heel trots om zich zo te noemen. Want je had de Londen Troubadour. Oh, sorry. Kobe was very proud that she could call her club a troubadour club. Because it was only allowed to the London club to call themselves that name, and later the club in Los Angeles. But so that they were very proud of that. This poster was very big in that. There. Now we're coming to the I think the last. Yeah, this is Paul Simon, and Paul Simon is interesting for a lot of reasons, because. Like all of you will know, that the first album of Simon & Garfunkel were also half songs by other people. So he was really starting in that folk tradition of singing other people's songs. And he was one of the first, I think, also in London, because in '64 he lived in London, starting his own songs in the tradition of those old folk songs. And, well, the Waag Club still exists, and I won't tell you about what happened after. But the interesting thing is, the second half of the 60s, there were more and more Dutch artists, kind of pop, kleinkunst, cabaret kind of artists, and that those real folk artists from that generation that played traditionals and traditional songs, I think Alex Campbell was the only one who kept coming until they stopped. And then there was a new generation, and they were not so much in the Waag, but that's what they call the singer-songwriters. Nowadays, everybody, every man, every woman, every boy, every girl with a guitar, acoustic guitar, is called a folk singer. I think this is bullshit. That has nothing to do with folk, because I think folk has to do with the tradition which I just talked about. And you see it in a couple of things. I think all those old folk songs, and I've listened to your records, and your records are storytelling records. And the old folk songs were old storytelling songs. And the new generation, which came up in the 70s, especially, let's say, James Taylor, Carole King, or she started writing in the 60s, but her most famous records were in the 70s. And even people like Neil Diamond, who is a great songwriter, but for me, not a folk songwriter, because their songs, to me, are much more peer-to-peer. They sing, when they're here, they sing, all of you think he's singing just for me. And that's what a singer-songwriter does. But a folk singer has to do with a community and with a folk and the stories, which has to do, to me, that's my opinion, about the whole group of people. That's why folk songs also are campfire songs, because it's a community thing. And so it's very interesting. And now I start asking questions. It's very interesting that, well, both of you are making records. I mean, both of you, you and you, are making records which are, to me, in that tradition. Gareth, your new album is called Elan. It sounds to me very contemporary in arrangements and in production. Even I think I hear synthesizers and things like that. So, but still, it has also the feel of folk. What makes it folk for you?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think for me it goes back to what you said about storytelling. I think that the album is something that, yeah, the arrangements are a little bit more contemporary. The instrumentation is quite modern, sort of. But there is only one folk song on the album, which is Pan o'n y Gwanwyn. The rest of the songs are telling the story of the community of the Elan Valley. So the album is called Elan because it's telling the story of this valley. And there's so many different histories about the valley contained, some of which are quite old, some of which are about the landscape, and some of which are contemporary stories about more modern history. And I guess the thing I'm actually doing, which is quite unusual, is I'm trying to tell the story of a lost community, really, because the valley was dammed and flooded at the beginning of the 20th century. And so the community that was there is gone. And I don't know if I'm not the person to speak for them, obviously, but I can try and reflect some of that history in the music, and I think that is a very folk approach to writing songs.
Seamus, Frederick, your album, I saw it standing there already, is a combination of existing songs and old lyrics or stories that you found, and you used or you compose a melody to them to make them songs. What is the what conditions did you need to make them folk musically?
Well, I think I've always had an interest in folk music. My father was a folk singer, my mother was a folk singer. They were part of this scene in the 60s in London. And I do sing some traditional songs, but I've only reasonably recently come to that, maybe the last 15 years or something. And sometimes, on a personal level, I struggle with the lyrics of folk songs because they're so loaded and they don't necessarily reflect my way of thinking about a story. But if I read books and read stories, sometimes I'm like, this is a song, you know. And with this record, there are 3 songs, and they all are a retelling of a folk tale. So, but it's it's not necessarily my subjectivity, but there's some contemporary subjectivity in it. It's a little bit like what you say about the valley. I'm also sort of trying to put myself in the mind of something in a tale which could be ancient.
That's what the storyteller does.
Ancient Greek. During the European Enlightenment period, and what else? Yeah, there's a third one as well. So usually I just find things. I'm like, this is a song, you know, like.
There is a song on your album. It's called Long Lenken.
Yes.
And I happened to have a song with the same title at home by a group called Stili Span.
Yes.
On their Commoner's Crown album. It's not exactly the same lyric, but it's the same song, the same title, and it's a completely different melody. Is it so? It's not a cover. or something? Is it a complete new song?
It's actually when we started to play, we were playing in a residency of a musician colleague, Germain, who's in the audience here. And we were in a residency and we had a lot of spare time, and we both have this interest in folk music, Frederick and I. So we started playing that song. I know it. I think I had a little melody which I was using with it. And then we just worked on it.
But did you know that version of Still I Span?
I probably do know the Still I Span version, but I know 50 versions of this song. Like, you know, I've heard people singing it live forever.
Yeah.
But the melody, it wasn't like I took an existing melody of it. It's quite common in the folk world, especially these people from the revival, the more radical ones in the sort of second folk revival, they started to write new melodies for old songs. So we sort of took some liberties there. Yeah. And we actually we reduced the lyrics. And actually there's a very famous book, The Child, it's the English and Scottish ballads, the Child Ballads. It's a 5-volume book which has 650 ballads in it, and each one, sometimes there's 30 versions of one ballad. So when Still I Span are looking for Long Lankin, they go into that book and they find the one they like. And then they'll also pull it out and probably change some lyrics, which is also what we did. So there's a lot of people adapt. If you do just copy a version of a song, it does happen. It does. Yeah, you do hear that people, they learn the Anne Briggs version of Tam Lin, or you know. So some people learn from records, some people learn from the book. It could come from anywhere, I think. Yeah.
Garrett, you made also an album with Chinese musicians. I listened to it and I thought this could be a Welsh album, but the arrangements are completely Eastern Chinese. Is there for you? Is there something common in all kind of folk music for you?
I think, yes. I think for me, it goes back to that storytelling element. So when I was working on the album with the Chinese musicians, I realized there was a linguistic barrier, but I realized that I could use poetry as a way of connection. So I started reading the work of a Chinese poet called Li Bai, a few others as well, Du Fu and Wang Wei, but Li Bai, I thought he had an amazing way with words and also an interesting life story that I could communicate with the musicians about. So in a way I was writing songs inspired by these poems, but then I could say to the musicians, you do know this poem by Li Bai, and because he's so famous in China, they would be like, yes, this is a very famous poem, I know. But they then have in their minds their own cultural understanding of that poem when they're playing the arrangements, as we were composing them together and that kind of thing. So it made the collaboration much more natural and helped us get past some of the language barriers and that kind of thing. And so even though the record is all in Welsh, the arrangements are in Chinese, and the whole record is telling the life story of Li Bai. So it's a really unusual record.
Yeah. But also the melodies are at least as much European as they are Chinese.
Yes, so because most of the melodies were written by me, and then it's the arrangements on top with the Chinese element. So, but also there are some melodies that were kind of following the Chinese traditional pentatonic scale and that kind of thing, which is a scale you get all over the world in folk music. And I'd say if you are looking for something to say, you know, is there a commonality in world folk music? I would say the pentatonic scale is a good example.
Do you agree with that, Frank? Because you're Norwegian?
Yeah, I agree. There's this particular Norwegian, when it comes to tonality in folk music, there's a lot of the things that I'm particularly interested in music, which is intonation and microtonality. And for me, it hasn't really come from the folk music, because I'm not coming from folk music, I'm coming more from experimental music and then approaching this folk music with that baggage, because I really like folk music, especially these kind of ballads. And but yeah, there's a lot of the harmonic series, as we can call it, like the overtones that are inherent in all sound, and particularly in tonal sounds. There is different notes that relate to mathematical whole number ratios, and those have a special sound. And yeah, in the Norwegian folk music, they have a lot of these kind of overtone melodies. Yes, and they are ubiquitous through all of folk music, I guess, or very many kind of traditions work with those materials because there's so much there in the sound, like as a resource, so to speak.
I think we should illustrate this with your concerts by now. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you.
Een kleine changeover en dan gaan we eigenlijk zo snel mogelijk weer van start. Maar 5 tot 10 minuten heb je. Tot zo. Yes. Zodra iedereen weer zit, mogen jullie heel ontspannen en rustig de aankondiging verwachten van Frederik Rasten en Seamus Cater. Zij gaan hun nieuwe album, wat fresh off the press is. Het is nog heel moeilijk te vinden online. Koop het vooral, zodra jullie enthousiast zijn. Dus leg alvast wat geld. En er is nog een kleine wereldprimeur. Mijn zoon heeft zijn eerste werkdag vandaag ooit. Dus als je ook wat fooi, dan... ja, Grand Theft Auto, ik weet niet hoe dat heet. Maar dan hoef ik het niet te betalen, zeg maar. Seamus Cater en Frederik Rasten.
Little readjustment.
Do you have an F for me, Seamus?
Thanks, Martijn, for inviting us. Thank you, Arno, and everyone at the Pletterij. And thanks, Peter, for giving us a lovely potted history of folk music of Haarlem. It's funny to see all those pictures and those folk singers looking so young, you know. Yeah. Folk clubs. I think in England in the 1960s, there were just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of folk clubs all over the whole country. And my dad, for many years, like toured before I was born, actually. But he toured. I think every weekend he did like 3 gigs up and down the country, singing something called glee music, which is kind of cheerful folk music. And actually, I've never heard recordings of it, but I think when I was born, he was more into his kind of ballad period. So we are going to play some ballads. We're going to play 3 ballads, and we're going to play 3 sort of new songs, which are ballads, I guess.
I don't think Sweet Lemon is a ballad, Seamus.
Oh, yeah, Frederick, he debates whether things are ballads or not. What makes a ballad?
I think it's the rhyme structure. I don't think this qualifies.
Okay.
But
So
it's a good song.
2 ballads, one song, and 3 singer-songwriter songs. And I would also say that this morning, with a razor blade, I accidentally cut the tip of my finger off. So I might scream a little bit. I might say ouch. So this song is called Sweet Lemony. It's a traditional song, and yeah, it's a little reworking that we've done of it, and we learned it from a singer from the 70s in England called Peter Bellamy.
As I was walking one fine summer's morning, fields and meadows look so green and gay, and the birds were singing pleasantly dawned. Early in the morning, at the break of the day, hark, oh hark, how the nightingales are singing. Lark, she is a taking flight in the air. Yonder green bower, turtle doves are building. The sun is just a glimmering. Arise, my dear. Rise, oh, arise. Get your charming posies. These are fairest flowers down in yonder grove. I shall pluck them all, lilies, pinks, and roses, for my sweet Lemony, the girl that I adore. Lemony, sweet Lemony, you are the fairest creature. You are the fairest creature ever my eyes did see. She played it all over on the pipes of ivory. Early in the morning, at the break of the day. And how could my true love vanish from me? How could she vanish from me? So I never shall see her more. It was her cruel eyes, thought so slightly of me. And it
So for the white rose that I once used to wear.
As I was walking one fine summer's morning, the fields and meadows were green. The birds were singing so pleasantly at dawning in the morning of that day. As I was walking one fine summer's morning, the fields and meadows were green. The birds were singing so pleasantly at dawning in the morning of that day.
Thank you. So I'm learning new fingering technique. Special technique.
Can I get it?
Yes. Okay, yes. We've got new stagecraft now. Yeah, we have a new stagecraft where Frederick doesn't tell me the note that he wants. I have to remember it. And I remember it by a big letter at the top of the page of each of the words. So this is a song. It's actually the oldest story in the English language. It's actually a story about something that happens in Denmark. The story is called Beowulf, and in the year 2000, Seamus Heaney brought out a new translation of it. We were looking at it earlier. You can see Old English and you can see Seamus Heaney's translation, and the Old English is kind of gobbledygook, and the translation is very beautiful, but also very harsh and sort of tough, and it's tough language. It's a story. I'll try and tell it really quickly. There's a place where people are living in kind of peace, and they've come out of a period of war, and there's a monster that lives nearby, and the monster comes in and kills people in the drinking hall, and Beowulf, the monster is called Grendel, and the Beowulf has to come and Beowulf has to kill Grendel basically, and when he kills him without weapons. He just uses his hands, and in the process of using his hands, he rips off the arm of Grendel, and he takes the arm of Grendel. He obviously kills Grendel when he does this, and he hangs the arm on the wall in the hall, and I don't know where. Oh yeah, Grendel's mother comes and takes Grendel back. Actually, she takes him to the underworld, and eventually she comes back to get the arm back, which he also takes to the underworld, and kills a few more people, and then Beowulf has to go and fight her, and he fights her underwater, and he survives. And then the story is a bit longer, but I won't. I didn't get any further with it, so it was enough. It became too ridiculous. So this is when stories get twisted, because this is only 2/3 of a story. Tables and chairs under which he had been found, flourishing between the coastline screen, settling in agreement. We must begin. This whole building, where we may do all our drinking, gables waiting for a callous burning. The noise did harrow him. No hands. Night falls down. He's not thinking. Sleeping, addled from their drinking, leveled and strewn, insensible to the happening. Hand to hand, I will face him in the gear I stand up in. Mayhem descending, I lay calm, the souvenir I take is your arm. Mothering, it's not easy. Caring for his beastly I loved him so. Did you expect anything else here? Night falls down. Water's burning. We go foursquare in our morning, wrestling in darkness. Light pours in, and we return to our drinking. Night falls down. Water burns. Wrestling. Light pours in. We return to drinking. Night falls down. Water burns. Wrestling. Light pours in. We return to drinking. Night falls down. Water burns. Wrestling. Light pours in. We return to drinking. Thank you, thanks. So, yes, so now we're going to move from Denmark to Poland, but actually this place in Poland is now in Ukraine, And this is the story of the Podheidse goat. And the Podheidse goat is a goat from a few hundred years ago, who lives in a ruin, and he only eats the grass that grows within the ruin. And this grass is strange grass, and actually that's the title of where our record comes from. It's called Strange the Grass Grows. And the first time I heard this story, it was being told by somebody called Paisel, and she had learned it a week before from somebody called Yenta. And this had been written down 200 years later by somebody called Olga, and then it was translated a few years after that by somebody called Jennifer. And then I read it in a book, and yeah, the book is written by Olga Tokarczuk, and it's a chapter in the book, and it's such a perfect story within the middle of a very large, also perfect story. But it's a very small, perfect story, and it's happened to me a few times recently that I'm reading something, and I just see a song in something very small. Some writers have a way to be able to kind of get an idea together, get a really vivid idea together in a small amount of page. I think it's a 2-page story, so I've just kind of adapted it. I've stolen, maybe not sentences, but certainly phrases from it, and yeah, I am a little bit worried about copyright issues, but I have credited it, and I always talk about it, and I hope to give a record to Olga Tokarczuk somehow. Maybe we can sing it for her once. That would be nice. Yeah, so this is the Podheidse goat. A scattering of stones, no longer in their rightness, ruins encircling grass. Which grows so high, with a wisdom of its own, contained by the walls of the ruin. Strange the grass grows, neither sown nor harvested, touched by no hand of man. There is a goat, he is 300 years old, feeds exclusively on grass. I hide my horns by day,
words may cause alarm, but by night I let them go. With nobody in sight, I go to the highest ground of this ruined sight, and when first a little twisting to extend this wisdom, stretch them heavenwards beyond. Standing on my back legs, the tips of my horns can touch the beginning of the moon, and I say, what's up, moon? Isn't it time for a new Messiah? What do you say? So I said this yesterday, or maybe the day before, not yesterday. Not only is Fredrik very good at tuning his guitar, he's also very good at tuning. You're actually looking at a sort of European preeminent tuning specialist. There's not many people who have ears like him. And it's, yeah, no, but for real, for real, for real. It's amazing.
And Seamus has also tuned his concertina.
Yes, and this is tuned. Yeah, we worked together for something like 2 years before, maybe, or 1 year before we tuned this. We tried firstly working with the ordinary tuning, and then that wasn't possible. And then we tried working with a Pythagorean tuning. Which was also very nice, but somehow Pythagorean tuning is not as pure as the tuning of this. And the third
instrument we worked with was this one, and then we kind of somehow collectively developed the pitches. I feel responsible for many of them, but and anyway, yeah, Pythagoras. This is actually a myth which is about a part of the Pythagorean story. Pythagoras, not only was he a mathematician, he was also a musician, and he was walking past the blacksmiths one day, and he hears some hammers, and he finds the sound of the hammers beautiful. So he walks into the blacksmith and says, "Show me your hammers." And the blacksmith shows him his hammers, and they realize that the hammer, which is twice as heavy as the other one, has the same tone but higher. And then there's another beautiful hammer which is the same tone, but it's a quint, a fifth. And there's probably another hammer which is a quart, a fourth. Is that a quart? Is that a thing? A fourth. And then but there's actually a fifth hammer also, and the fifth hammer sounds diabolical, and Pythagoras doesn't know what to do with it. So I think he kind of ignored it. And later, if you're interested in tuning, Harry Partch and people like this, you realise that there was somebody from Egypt called Ptolemy, and he came along with the number 5. Pythagoras was very much interested in the number 3, but Ptolemy was interested in number 5. And the number 5, this I did do last night. This is what number 5 sounds like.
It's the sound of the fifth overtone sounding.
It's the fifth overtone, which makes a very beautiful major third. It's flatter than the major third of a piano. But anyway, we're in danger of talking about tuning, which is...
boring as the long ballads.
Yeah, it's as boring as ballads, yeah. So, we will get on with it. Sorry. It's upside down.
Oh, it's upside down. Number has to be introduced, namely the 11. Sounds like this. Also quite diabolical.
It's quite diabolical, yeah.
Now we're ready.
Arduous this might appear, you may be surprised, probably unglamorous, but I doubt that even with the smallest hammer given, you could draw this iron into a knife, or just here through the air that moves beyond the low walls that ring the edge of this compound. This hammer sends out this sound farther than the houses. This hammer falls to her head, certain of the weight of it, the ring of the smallest is also the shrillest, took away my for the sound I cannot hear, for the ear that is no more, for the heartless passerby as I bring it down again, for the sound I cannot hear, for the ear that is no more, for the heartless passerby as I bring it down again. Thank you. Okay, so now we're going to play two ballads. The first one is one of the older English ballads. It's called Death and the Lady. It was popularized by an English singer called Shirley Collins, who both of us are kind of fans of her music. It's beautiful because she made a recording of it in 1971. And then she made another recording of it in 2010,
Something like that.
perhaps. And the quality of her voice is completely different.
Yeah, it's kind of like her voice has sunk an octave down or something.
Yeah. But still, there's the power of the way that she sings the song is. Yeah. And for some reason, not many people have sung this song. I think that I know a Norma Waterson version, which she sings with Martin Carthy, which is completely different. It's absolutely beautiful. You know that, Gareth? With Norma Waterson and Martin Carthy singing Death and the Lady. It's really absolutely incredible. It's just on a YouTube film, I think. And I've heard Shirley Collins' version, but I don't think I've heard any other versions except maybe an Irish version, contemporary version. Yeah. As I walked out one morning, my birds did sing, and the lambs did play. The birds did sing, and the lambs did play. I met an old man, met an old man by the way. A grayness did surround his face, a myrtle shade his clothes did grace. And I asked him what strange countryman, or what strange place, what strange place he did belong. My name is Death, cannot you see lords, dukes, and ladies bow down to me, and you are one of these branches three, and you fair maid, you fair maid must come with me. I'll give you gold and jewels rare. I'll give you fancy clothes to wear, and I'll give you all my wealth in store if you let me live. Let me live a few years more. Fair lady, lay your robes aside. No longer glory in your pride, and no sweet maid make no delight. Your time has come, time has come. You must away. And not long after, younger glide, and on a grave, the lady cried, "Here lies a poor, distressed maid, whom death no lately, death no lately has betrayed." Thank you. So that song is Norma Watson, when she talks about that song, she says it could be as old as the 13th century. And I didn't say what the song is about, but it's about somebody meeting some kind of aristocrat, probably during a time of the plague, and they meet death. Death comes for them, and they, instead of succumbing and going with death, they try to buy him off, but of course they can't. So this is the last song, you'll be pleased to know. it's called Long Lankin, so we talked about it a little bit with Peter. We worked on it. It was the first piece that we worked on. We worked on it for a week. Amazingly, the musicians that were there with us loved hearing it. It was very, it was quite special, no? Because normally if you play the same thing over and over again for a week, people hate it. But anyway, we played it over and over for a week, and Frederick could play it, but with the concertina I couldn't play it properly. But we were just mostly, I think I had this enormous concertina that was too heavy to play. But eventually it became this version. You good with notes?
Yep.
Lord to his lady, mounted his horses, whereof Long Lankin lives in the halls. Lord to his lady, he rode away, whereof Long Lankin lives in the hay. Doors be all bolted, windows opened, leave not one hole, mouse to creep in. Doors were all bolted, windows opened, one little window Lankin crept in. Lord of this house, cried Long Lankin, way down in London, false nurse to him. Lady of this house, cried Long Lankin, sleep in her chamber, false nurse to him. Heir of this house, cried Long Lankin, sleep in his cradle, false nurse to him. Prick him and prick him over with a pin, bring your lady down to him. Pricked him and pricked him over with a pin, nurse held the basin, blood to run in. Nurse, how you slumber, nurse, how you snore, leave my son Johnston crying to the Lord. Tried him with soap, I've tried him with pap, Down, my fair lady, rock him in your lap. Tried him with apples, tried him with pears. Down, my fair lady, rock him in your chair. How can I conquer? It's so late at night. There's no candle burning, a fire to light. 3 silver mantles as bright as the sun. Down, my fair lady, by the light of one.
Lady came down by the light of one to find long Lincoln silent sun.
Spare me long lanky till 12 o'clock. For as much coal and carry on your back.
Oh, had I as much gold, build me this tower, I would not spare you even one.
Spare me long lanky, spare me that hour. My daughter Betsy, the finest of flowers.
Your daughter Betsy may do something good. Old silver basin, catch your heart's blood. Betsy was up in the
Tower so high, heard her father riding by. Father, dear father, don't blame me. Falseness and Lankin killed your lady. Falseness was hanged, the gallows so high. Lankin was burned, the fire close by. Fire close by. Fire close by.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Seamus
much.
Cater,
And soon the gentle good.
Frederik Rasten. De plaat ligt dus straks voor jullie te koop aan die kant. We zijn best een beetje uitgelopen, dus 5 minuten voor een drankje te halen. Kijken of dat lukt. Hessel heeft er 10 nodig. 10 drankjes, Hessel? Of 10 drankjes, oké. En dan zie ik jullie zo met de Gentle Good. Yes. Nou, ik ga gewoon heel rustig beginnen met praten. Dan kunnen jullie heel langzaam je weg weer terugvinden met het glas in de hand. En je voor gaan bereiden op de volgende artiest. Ja, ik sta hier met een plaat in mijn handen. En het verhaal, ja, het is ook een klein verhaal. 10 jaar geleden vond ik ergens ik weet niet eens of Bandcamp bestond, maar ergens een link naar deze muziek. En ik dacht van, jezus, dit is goed. En ik ging op zoek naar die plaat, nergens te krijgen. En toen vond ik via een klein labeltje, er waren 150 van dit soort platen van gedrukt. De plaat heette Ruins, van een of andere gast, Gentle Good uit Wales. Nou goed. En we zijn nu 10 jaar later. Ik kwam, omdat ik die plaat was hartstikke uitverkocht. Dus ik kwam via Facebook met hem in contact. En toen bleek hij... het was wel een interessant gesprek. Hij was zooloog. En ik vind het altijd wel interessant als mensen naast hun muziek ook nog andere dingen interessant vinden. Nou ja, goed. Deze plaat inmiddels ondertekend vandaag, ben ik heel erg blij mee. Ik dacht op een gegeven moment, het zou toch mooi zijn als The Gentle Good, Gareth Bonello, naar Haarlem zou komen. Nou ja, 10 jaar later is het eindelijk gelukt. All the way from Wales, The Gentle Good.
Diolch yn fawr iawn. Bedankt, thank you very much, Martijn, for that lovely introduction. Only part of it I understood, but I'm working. This is my first time performing in the Netherlands, so my Dutch is still a little bit rusty. So apologies for mainly introducing in English today, but maybe a bit of Welsh as well. I'll start off with an English tune just to get a bit warmed up, and then we'll have a look at the Welsh folk tradition. One last time in the darkness, let's lie still as the night, and hold the shroud to cloud the growing light. Morning holds out a finger, veil is bound to the sky, a rake that takes the slumber from our eyes. Down by the stream there's a maple, see how she sheds her leaves. Idle they fall to capture and enthrall, and then wash away downstream in the morning light. Call sunrise a street lamp, let the moonlight prevail. Call the brazen lark nightingale. Through the veil of deception, there is one stubborn truth, the one to which we all must travel to. Down by the stream there's a maple, see how she sheds her leaves. Idle they fall to capture and enthrall, and then wash away to sea in The moon climbs so high and fades into a sky of boldest blue. The lark carries on with the morning song. So I stand by the water, breathing cold morning air. The leaves descend until the tree stands bare. Diolch yn fawr, thank you very much, bedankt. So that's one of my own songs called O Bad. It's a love song, basically. And it's two lovers lying in bed, not wanting the dawn to break because it means they've got to go their separate ways. So they're kind of wishing the dawn away, you know. And there's a tradition of poetry in this fashion. Even in Shakespeare, it comes along, singing of the lark, and is it a lark or is it a nightingale, and all this kind of thing. And so they always part at a tree as well in these poems. So I placed the separation at a maple, and they kind of cast their sort of wishes into the stream and hope that the fate will bring them back together again. So I'm going to go to another love song now, but this is one from the Welsh tradition, a much darker tale, this one. Now, it's in the Welsh language. So if you've not heard the Welsh language before, you're about to hear it. You're going to get a lot of it this evening. So this is a song from the 1840s to 1860s, and it was printed on these ballad sheets in Wales. And it's called Y Bachgen Maen, the Slender Lad. And basically, it's a story. The young man is walking early one morning, and he hears some voices. And he goes to investigate who's talking and who's there, but it's his love and her mum, and they're discussing him. So he's obviously going to stop and listen, so he stops to listen, and he can hear the mother trying to convince the daughter to leave him because he doesn't have any money. And he's a bit of a rogue, you know. In the pictures, in the print sheets, you see him wearing a top hat and a big long coat with tails and carrying a cane. But she is very true, and she sticks with him. And she says that I would not give up all the gold of Peru and all the silks of Persia and all the lands of India for this boy. So the mother says, well, if that's what you're going to do, you build your bed on a bed of thorns, she says. And unfortunately, mother's right. Because the young man goes away to sea. And in the Welsh tradition, as I'm sure in many folk traditions all over the world, going away to sea is almost a death sentence. So she waits for him to come back, and eventually in the last verse, she gets a letter written in his own hand that he's written for her on his deathbed, and it's stamped with the 3 fateful letters, R.I.P. at the end. And she's left heartbroken. Yeah, I know. Sorry. There's going to be some of that this evening, but I'll try and sprinkle in some more jolly ones in between. Anon mas, yn rhodio'r ceir, dydd Mawrth diwetha o dyddiau'r byd. Mewn llefydd isel, Dan goedwig tawel, fe gliwn I ddwy yn ymgomion hyd. Nes I nes atynt, nes o'n I anon y lle arfar. Wy oedd yno, yn ymgomion, fan wyl gariad gyda'i mam. Ti sydd yna, ti fan wylid a dy ddwy law fach yn rhydd. Yn band y drysiad, yn hard o sodiad a minnau am dy fatio sydd. Ceifwntiodd geffil fy nghangen gynnil, ceiweision sifil iawn i'w ddrin. A golid bydol, sef a'r melynion ac arian glwywan wrth y glin. Yr o'i fi'n ei gari, o'i am gael sefyll I ddon gryw. Os mae mewn ar wyt ti'n darparu, cei neud weli ar frigair drai. Os penderfynyd, wneud i'w gari a friodi ar fachgen mai. Ar bachgen mae'n mi fentraf o mam y tywed y tir gwir. Gadwar nofio'n i'r cybyddion a fentraf gyda bloder sir. A'i wyneb hirwyn a'i wath melynwyn ac ar ei rydd y mae dwy rôl. Gwyn ei a fyddo rhwng ei freichiau'n cysgu'r nôl. Dros y morau fe'n gydawus ar y lan, a dewi sant yr o'i rwydd debyddo a'i gyfarwydd o fewn pob man. A'i ddim I wylo chwaith na becso nac I crio ar ei ôl. Os ydyw yn digwydd I daw fan wy'n gariad eto. A'i law ei hun, sgrifennodd lythyr, ar ei wel roedd sel o gwy. Ac od os dim yn torri'n halon, ond I ddarllen fore ar hwy. Ar ei waelod mae tair llythyren, y rhai sy'n delio am bryd am gwedd. Yeah. Diolch. So this evening, what I'm going to do is sort of switch back and forth between mostly between two records that I've recorded in the last sort of 3 years. The first is Galar Gan, which is a traditional folk record. So it's all traditional songs, is what I mean. And it's just more like what you'll see this evening, me sort of with a guitar. There's a few splashes of cello and piano on it, but it's mainly these interpretations of traditional Welsh folk songs. A Bachgen Mine, the song you just heard, is on that record. And then there's Elan, which is more of a sort of more of a psychedelic folk stroke rock record, but still informed by the folk tradition, as we were discussing earlier on with Peter. And so Galar Gan means sorrow songs. So all of the Welsh folk stuff is quite dark. So what I'm going to do is mix in some of the Elan Valley stories as well, some of which are not quite as dark. So I'm going to play a song now from the Elan album. So as I mentioned earlier, Elan Valley is right in the middle of Wales. It's more or less, if you put a pin bang in the middle of Wales, that's where the Elan Valley is. And it's an area of Wales that is not very densely populated at all. It's very mountainous. And at the sort of end of the 19th century, the city of Birmingham basically bought the valley. There was a compulsory order from Westminster, and they bought the valley so that they could flood it to provide drinking water for Birmingham. This is a pattern that has happened quite a lot to Wales over the past, even into recent times, obviously because we're a very sparsely populated rural country right next to a very densely populated urbanized country, England. So a lot of work is about trying to sort of remember these places and the impact and commemorate them. So I spent a year in the Elan Valley researching this album and staying in a cottage halfway up a mountain. The cottage is called Pen y Garreg, which means head of the rock. So in Welsh, pen means head. So if you see place named with pen or something, it means head of the something. And then Garreg is rock. So top of the rock. And if you carry on going up, Esgair Pen y Garreg, which is the Pen y Garreg escarpment, the slope, you get to a peak called Crigin Key, the dog peak. Crigin is the peak and dog is key. And every morning I would go up to the top of this peak and look out over the valley, also to phone back home because it's the only place I could get a signal. So I phone my wife and tell her that it's okay, I haven't died in the night or burned down the cottage or anything like that. But it's an amazing place. When you're on the top of Crigin Key, if you look to the west, you can see the Elan Valley and the reservoirs that were flooded. If you look to the east, you see the Wye Valley and into England. And if you look north, you just see this endless stretch of moorland, the upland, which just seems to go on forever. So this is a song of praise for Crigin Key, and we have this tradition in Welsh of sort of praising the land, praising animals. And so this is a song of praise for Crigin Key and its excellent 4G signal. And the first verse is basically a song map. It tells you how to get to the top of the mountain from the valley floor. So it says, you go up Esgair Pen y Garreg, up the Pen y Garreg slope, up to the Freed, which is the zone in the mountain before you get to the upland, but the trees are starting to have trouble growing. It's kind of a mixed section. And then you have to struggle through Molinia grass, which is like purple moor grass, which grows everywhere on top of these mountains. And then you get to the top. So, let's go to Crigin Key. Esgair Pen y Garreg, lan at y Ffridd, heibio'r hyn chwareli'n tasgu o'r prif, mwydro dros Molinia at y copa yw'r hynt, a'r Crigin sy'n cyfarth yn anedd gwyn. Elan wrth fy nghefn gwyo ymlaen, cyfaith a chydymaeth ar ddoldrymau'r wain. Weithie'n gwisg o cwmw rhag olwg y byd, a weithiau mewn heilwen anfedwyd i gyd. A weithiau mewn heilwen anfedwyd i gyd. Gyda'r llwybr croesi ar y rhos, fydd dywys at yr afon, neith golli gyda'r nos. Wel a rhai yn ialwch ac erwaid i werth, tirau clwm yn rwyso ar lethrau mor serth, cymraf unau ystyr a chysur o'r tir, wrth sathi drwy'r oesoedd o ben grigyn cyd. Drwy'r oesoedd o ben grigyn Diolch yn fawr. Thank you very much. I'm going to do a song from another album now. This is the one that Martin was mentioning earlier, the Ruins. And this is a protest song, which I think, again, is something we didn't mention in the discussion, but certainly I think protest is a big element of folk music, especially in the revival era with Pete Seeger, of course, and Woody Guthrie, obviously. Ruins has quite a few protest songs on it, and this is one of them. It's called Suffer the Small Birds. And it's basically about listening to the little voices. It's a misquote from Shakespeare in Titus Andronicus, widely regarded as Shakespeare's worst play. But there's a line in it, the eagle does not suffer the little birds to sing, meaning that the big eagle doesn't have to listen to the little birds and what they say. And Winston Churchill used it at Yalta when they were discussing what to do with the Balkans. And I thought, the problem with that kind of thinking is it sows the seeds of tragedy later on. And so this is a song about suffer the small birds, because I needed one syllable rather than two. So I've misquoted Shakespeare. It's about listening to those. And it was also during the corruption scandal in Westminster, but then there's been so many since then that I don't really need to sort of go.
Magpies gather in an old oak tree. Magpies gather in an old oak tree. One's for sorrow, two for more. When they call, I'm never sure what the tidings have in store for me. Saw them in their suits of black and white. Saw them in their suits of black and white, taking all their claws would hold, first the silver, then the gold, raised uneven in the broad daylight. Oh, our fathers used to say, devil, I defy you. Promises will fade away quicker than the summer dew. Suffer the small birds, small birds to sing. Suffer the small birds, small birds to sing. Songbird sat upon a crooked tree. Songbird sat upon a crooked tree. From the shadows of their wings, who knows what the dawn would bring? Will you lift your head and say to me? Oh, our fathers used to say, devil, I defy you. Promises will fade away quicker than the summer. Oh, our fathers used to say, devil, I defy you. Promises will fade away quicker than the summer dew.
Diolch yn fawr, thank you. I'm going to go back to Galargan now. So this is a song called Nid Wyf yn Llon, which means I am not happy. I did warn you. This is the motivation maybe for the album. I found it just before the lockdown period, and this was definitely a lockdown album. And it was in the National Library in Wales. So a lot of the sort of songs I find are in archives, in Wales. So museums, libraries, that kind of place. And this song was collected. It says on the manuscript, it says collected by the warden, Dolgellau Jail. Dolgellau is a town in mid Wales. From the singing of a drunk, said. So this is a prisoner song, basically, and I think it's pretty much a blues song. I'd think of it as a blues song, So he's not happy, obviously, because he's in prison, and he's just a man who can't. He has these little slivers of joy, but then as soon as they go, like it can be the sun on his face or a friend visiting. As soon as they're gone, he's just very, very miserable, basically. And he paints this beautiful picture halfway through the song where he describes a wave breaking and this kind of golden light shining through the top as it breaks. And you think, oh, that's just a beautiful image. And the melody really lifts at that point, and then it just goes straight back down again. So this is a poor guy in prison. Diolch yn fawr, thank you. Yeah. It's not blues, I know, but it just has... it's easier to think of it as a blues song, I think. Let me see. Oh, I'll tell you what. No. I'll do an instrumental. So this is an instrumental song from the Elan album. And it's a story I found about the cottage I was staying in, Penygarreg, top of the rock. And I found a book all about the lives of the shepherds that lived in the valley. And one of the stories was of this shepherd, it's only a little paragraph, who lived in the cottage and went to a wedding all the way over in the next valley over, which is the Tavy Valley, which is about a 20-mile journey on foot. So quite a long way to go to a wedding. But he's a shepherd, so I'm sure he's used to walking very long distances. I did the walk myself, and it left me almost broken by the end, I have to say. But it takes him through, the route takes him through one of the most remote parts of the valley where there's only like one farm, Cleirwen, and then you are right on the top of the upland, and it's a long, long way before you get across any more people, basically. So he did what many people probably do, you know, late at night when you've maybe had a drink too many and you think, oh, do you know what, I just need to get home, I just need to go home. But obviously he can't phone a taxi. He just sets off in the middle of the night back to his cottage, but it's a 20-mile walk. And just as he's on this most exposed part, it snows. And he gets completely turned around and lost on this, because it's there are no trees, there's no features, so when the snow falls, it's very hard to tell where you are. And even though he's a shepherd and it's his territory, he's completely lost his way. But fortunately, he had his trusty sheepdog, Fleet, with him. And the sheepdog, seeing that his master was going around in circles, stands in front of him and leads him all the way across one of the most remote part, down into the next valley over. So this is a story with a good ending, and a tribute to Fleet. So the song is called Fleet, so it's an instrumental, but yeah, good boy Fleet, isn't it? Good dog. Good boy. I'll do another song from the valley that kind of carries on in the same part of the valley that the shepherd would have been walking along, but not in the same era. There's a notorious story that I came across about a family called Brooks. It's quite a common English name, Brooks, and apparently what it was that the father moved the family from Cornwall up to the Tavy Valley, and apparently he was he was an iron worker of some sort, and they all lived perfectly peacefully in the valley. But when he died, his sons all turned to crime, and they became thieves. And what they would do is wait in the Clearwen Valley at the top of the mountain and wait for the drovers, the people who had taken their livestock to market in England, to come back with all their pockets full of gold. And also in those days, they would also be carrying money and bank promises and notes and things from the people of the town and the village they were from the banks in England. So there was a lot of money with these people as they were walking through this very remote part of the valley. And so the Brooks boys would hide on top of a mountain and wait for them, and then rob them and leave them on the mountain, leave them on the mountain. So in that part of Wales, the name Brooks has become a term for a rascal. So if you say someone is a Brooksin, singular, it's a rascal. Or Brooksod is plural. So, Brooksod yn gyd. You would say, Brooksod yn gyd. They're all Brooksods. They're all rascals. Okay? So this is not even very well known in Wales, but in a particular region of West Wales, this is still a kind of colloquial term. And the area where the brothers used to wait is called Esgair Nantabeddau, which means the escarpment of the stream of graves. So very apt. So while I was living in the valley, this is 2021 to 2022, and there's no signal in the cottage I was in, as I was saying earlier on. So every now and then I would come down from the valley, and there was a lot going on in the world and in the UK at the time. And sometimes I come down and we'd have a new prime minister, you know. And then I go again another week later, and I come down and there'd be a new prime minister again, you know. And you know, there was a lot of strife going on, and I thought to myself, oh my God, what is going on with all these Brooksods everywhere, you know? What can I do to be rid of all these Brooksods? So I kind of wrote this song as a kind of to tell the story, and then just to lament that our fate is to be tied to all these bloody Brooksods everywhere.
Gahangau gyda'r gwair I foddio chwant y Brooksod am ddifrod ac am air yn disgwyl ar y manir yn gelfydd ac yn hir I ddwy
Diolch yn fawr, thank you very much. Yeah, so that's probably that's my angriest song. I'm going to do one more song in this tuning and then I'll shift into a different tuning. Here's a song that sort of arches over both the folk record and the Elan Valley record. It's called Pan o' na Gwanwyn, which means As I Was in Springtime. And it's a traditional Welsh song from my area, from southeast Wales. And it's one of those songs that just sounds a little off, like it's been noted down in a certain way. It sounds to me like a medieval tune that has been reimagined in the Romantic era. So it's gone through like a Victorian romantic filter. But it's a shepherd standing on top of a mountain in springtime, watching the sheep with the lambs. And so I recorded it first for the folk record. And then I thought one of the things about the Elan Valley is that when they moved the community out to flood it, they lost that connection with the land and the landscape and the naming of the land, things like this. And also they lost a Welsh-speaking community. And Welsh-speaking communities are quite rare and are getting rarer all the time. And so the loss of each one is kind of a tragedy. So I wanted to reintroduce some of the Welsh tradition to the Elan Valley. So what I did was I wrote extra verses for this folk song because the original song has, the original notated version that I've seen only had one verse. So what I did was I wrote extra verses and carried on the story but located it in the Elan Valley. So what happens is the shepherd hears the voice, goes to investigate. He thinks it's his love singing, and that's the first verse. The second verse, he goes exploring. He hears the voice coming down from somewhere on high. So he goes up the mountain, and I name all the mountain. He looks for up the black slope to the top of the mountain, up onto the horse, which is the moorland. And he loses her in the dark because it's misty and dark up there. So then he starts making his way down, and he's by Nant Dol Volai, which is Nant is stream, and Dol is meadow, and Volai is the name of the hillocks at the top of the mountain. So it's the stream of the meadow near the hillocks. And he decides to go down into the valley, and he can hear this voice over one of the lakes, over one of the reservoirs. And he realizes that it's the voice of the Elan River that's singing to him from beneath the water. And it's also kind of appropriate because the Elan is a girl's name in Welsh. It's a name for, it means a young deer. So the river is named after the deer. It's also one of the weirdest Welsh folk tunes, I think.
dros y lleffyrdi. Lan y mynydd at galon y rhwnt. Wrth ddilyn o sian. Di galon i a'i llais yn atsau gydol. Anon ar lanau Tydol ddolau arnat yn llifo ti ar glyn Dwi'n lais fy nghariad Gwan ei chaniad yn dawel yn sisiad O dan y dŵr yn gyd Oedd yn hariad i O mae'n hyngon mor drymed ar blôn Fy hynwy lelanau Aladrian sy'n llenwi dyfrau oer y cwm
It's an odd little tune, isn't it? But yeah, it's always interesting to see. It's one of those ones that not many people venture it to play it in the Welsh folk sort of circles. It's always interesting to see what other musicians make of it, you know, because you can twist the time around and you can twist the key changes and all that around. I'm going to go back to a song now from Ruins. This is also a protest song. And we were talking about Woody Guthrie and Bob Dylan and Pete Seeger earlier on. And I was trying to channel them with this one. Sometimes you've just got to be quite direct with protest, I think. Normally I try and dress my lyrics up and they're all kind of flowery and poetic. But sometimes it's best not to be like that, especially with something when you're trying to get a message across. So this is a critique of trickle-down economics. Yeah, this is my critique of trickle-down economics in waltz time. Because it's a protest song, I bought a harmonica. There you go. Yeah. So here you go. It's called Rivers of Gold. Gold is the color sown in the clouds, so everyone's talking, gathered in crowds. The prophets have spoken, the fortunes foretold, and when the rain comes, there'll be rivers of gold. Rivers of gold, that's what everyone's told. Bright as the midwinter sun. Of gold, what a sight.
wonder the riches belong to so few, when these are the hands that the rivers flow to. Rivers of gold, that's what everyone's told, right as the midwinter sun. Rivers of gold, what a sight to behold. They're the rivers that never will run. They're the rivers that never will run. All of those people stood in the rain and stared as the water ran clear down the drain. We prayed to our gilded idols for more, and lay all blame at the feet of the poor. Rivers of gold, that's what everyone's told, right as the midwinter sun. Rivers of gold, what a sight to behold. They're the rivers that never will run. They're the rivers that never will run.
Diolch yn fawr iawn. Thank you very much. I'm aware we're running sort of late, but I don't know how many ways. Should I wrap it up or should we keep going? Or keep going? Okay, I'll do a couple more, shall I? Are you all right? You okay? You doing all right? Okay. I'll do, let's do a sing-along. I'll do a sing-along. I'll do a sing-along in English, and then I'll wrap up with another Welsh folk song to finish, okay? So, this one, because in the Elan Valley I was trying to also write in different ways, and I challenged myself to try and write something a little bit more upbeat, because I'm aware that quite a lot of my music is quite miserable. So, what I did was try and write a summer pop hit. The Welsh word for a summer dwelling, somewhere where you go in summertime, is called a hafod. It means, literally translates as to be in summer. So I thought, what a nice way to be in summer. So I wrote a song, To Be in Summer. So it's got a chorus, which is quite easy, because it's ah. So you have to go, so I'll be like this. And I go, in summer. That's the chorus, like that. Does it again. In summer. One more time. In summer. Nice. Then it changes chords, but you can sing the same thing. Different that second time around, but you'll get it. Now, if you want to throw in any harmonies, just go for it, okay? I am not precious at all. I'll give you a little nod, and by the end of the song, I'm sure we'll have it. So this is my summer pop hit. I hope you enjoy. Oh, I'd like to be in summer. Let me lie in those
my one despair. In the city, set in concrete, find a place with no one there.
Well done to you. That was brilliant. Amazing. That's also a folky thing, right? Sing-alongs are a folky thing, I think. Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure. I'd like to make a huge, huge thank you to Martijn, who is... Where are you? Somewhere. Over there, hiding somewhere. He emailed me out the blue, and we corresponded for a while, and he invited me out here. And not only did I get to play to you beautiful people here this evening, but I also got to have a mini tour around the Netherlands. So I played in Rotterdam, I played in Groningen, I also was in Eindhoven and Amsterdam last night. So I've had a really amazing time. I've felt so welcomed everywhere I've been. Everyone's been super interested, super warm and generous with applause, and very generous with tips on food and providing me with food as well. So thank you very much indeed. Also, can we have a huge thanks to the Keuken and Pletterij here tonight. It's such a great venue. Michael on the sound. And of course, Seamus Carter and Frederick Raston earlier on. What a brilliant sound. Thank you very much to Peter as well for a wonderful little chat at the start and a history of Haarlem folk. That was very fascinating. This is the riskiest tuning of the night, which is why I left it to the last. So we're going to finish with a folk song from Wales. This one is also on the Galargan album. It's called Mae'r Ddaear yn Glasu. Now that means the earth, y ddaear, is in bloom, I guess would be the translation. So glasu in Welsh, it literally translates as bluing. Bluing, yes. And I'll explain why. Because in the Celtic languages, green was considered just a shade of blue. Okay? So, if, for instance, the Welsh word for grass is actually translated into English as blue hay. Yeah, so glaswellt is Welsh for grass. So when you say things are bluing or glassy, you actually mean they're greening, because for us it's the same. It's like colour blindness, linguistic colour blindness. So this is a May carol, so I'm singing it a little early, but what I'm trying to do here is manifest a little bit of springtime. Exactly, yes. It's getting to that stage now, yes. I can hear a few coughs and colds in the audience this evening, It's cold today, actually. And so these are secular songs. People would sing them. They would go from house to house singing them and wishing people luck for the springtime. And the verses talk about birds singing and hedges in bloom and this sort of thing. And then the last verse, it says, Mae'r ddaear mawr ffrwythlon a'i thrysor yn ddigon, which means the earth is big and fruitful, and its treasures are enough to feed all of its inhabitants, if only we could learn to share and love each other with one heart. Which is a really lovely message, all the way from the 18th century. So it's a celebration, really, a celebration of spring, and a little bit of a summoning, hopefully. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's been really a real pleasure and an honour to be here this evening. Come and say hello afterwards. Be around. We have some vinyl and CDs for sale, but you don't have to buy anything. You can just come and say hello.
Mae'r ddaear yn glasu a'r coed sydd yn tyfu a gwirthion yw'r gerddi mae'r llwyni mor llon a heir ddiw'r eginau a'r dail ar y dolau a blodau'r pellannau i'r llawn o sbian ddiweddar weddi ar y ddaear ganodd yr adar yn gerddgar i gyd gweld coedydd yn deilio a wnaeth i'r byncio hyd seinio drwy'n hoiwrod lawn hyfryd ffrwythlon a'i thrysor yn ddigon I borthi ffrigolion yn dirion bob tîr Pe bydden ddynion mewn cafnwr heddychlon yn carin yn galon ein gilydd
Bedankt. Diolch yn fawr iawn. Thank you so much.
The gentle good, Gareth Bonello. Nogmaals bedankt, de Pletterij. Dit was een keuken- en pletterijproductie. Nogmaals bedankt geluid, Gijs en Micha, Arno, de hele crew van video, de keuken, de kok. Even kijken, en dan heb ik nog posters weggegeven van vanavond. Als je een leuke souvenir wil van vanavond, heb ik posters en flyers over. Helemaal ontworpen door Bas Mantel. Zoek hem op. Vette grafische ontwerper. Dan heb ik nog tips voor volgende week. In niet hetzelfde straatje, maar in het straatje De Ex en Vrienden. Bassip Zeehok. Dat is een project van Lucas Simonis. GW Sok van De Ex en Gert-Jan Prins. Die treden op samen met Minton en Hubs. Dat is volgende week donderdag 19. En wel gerelateerd aan de keuken is het Springtijfestival samen met Hessel Veldman in maart 27. Nogmaals graag een warm groot applaus voor Seamus Keter en Frederik Rasten en The Gentle Good. Thank you so much for being here. See you again next time. Bye.